gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
Hey, what is happening, YouTube? Sorry we're late. All my fault. Very poorly planned morning. Had a long night and didn't get up until late, and I had some listening to do. So I need to do one quick thing here that I didn't do before we got set up here. Put my other camera on, and there we go. All right, so we are here today with Mr. Johnny Mac from the Jolly O UK, and I always forget where you're at. Blackpool, no.
No, that's Mount G with a C. I'm in Wales. Right. I'm in Wrexham, North Wales. So
you're North Wales, right? Okay, so Johnny has been on a lot of stuff with me, man. We started our little YouTube hangs with I think Fish, right? And we've done
shit. That was the first.
We've done all the island stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Anything else? Is there other ones that I'm missing? Probably.
I think that was possibly it. Because we've done, what, 4 or 5 islands now? So,
yeah, a lot of them. You might actually be, you're creeping up on there and some of my long timers, man, like Jimmy and Serge and Nick. Those guys have like dozens of appearances, but you're getting there, man. So Johnny Mac from Rock and Metal Plus. Johnny and I have a lot of common interests. We're very, very close in age, and so we have a lot of touchstones with in the metal world, in the death metal world, in the prog rock world, all that kind of stuff. I would say Johnny, probably our number one connectivity is over Marillion and Fish is really kind of where it kind of was like, oh, that dude's into this. I got to reach out to him. That's what led me to kind of reach out to you and look into what you were doing. And so, and you're probably like, oh, please don't have him contact me, please. But yeah, but it's been fun, man. We've had a good time. So again, sorry we're late. What's going on over Rock and Metal Plus real quick?
Well, I still need to do a Napalm Death review. Me and Mark G with the C went to see Napalm Death last weekend. I know Mark's put his live review up, so I've got like 4 or 5 live clips. They did an excellent cover of Nazi Punk's F Off, which is always good because that's one cool thing about Napalm Death. They always very PC and very anti-everything, which is what we like, isn't it? So, yeah, no, they were really good. So, there's we've got some people on already, which is cool.
Yeah, we got Storm Rider here. We've got, which Storm Rider I believe is, God, I'm going to screw this up. I know. Is that Jan? Just checking. I think it's Jan, but I'm not entirely sure. Peter from
Peter,
the Metal Wall. We always love Peter. Good to see you, Peter. So today we're going to get into a band that is a very unique band. Now, I have a little bit of history with this band, if you know anything about my channel. Back in, I think it was late April, early May of last year, Eric Bauer and I did a deep dive on the entire Warriors Soul catalog. Because this is a band that, and I'll touch on this quickly, I'll jump to you, Johnny, that I came into most likely, I think, from the Headbangers Ball route, when Headbangers Ball was the thing. I think I saw the video for We Cry Out, maybe The Losers. I'm not really sure. It's long enough ago that I can't recall. But what ended up happening here was that I heard one of those 2 songs, and I was like, what the hell is this, man? This is totally different from the metal that I was leaving behind in the late 80s, the hair metal, the Stripers, the Motley Crues, the Rats, all that stuff. Yeah. Some of those bands are good, and I like a lot of those bands, and I own some of that stuff. But this was gritty, angry, punky, pissed off, fucked up alternative metal, man. And they just didn't, to me, this band didn't sound like anybody at the time. They had a totally unique sort of vibe. Their singer, Corey Clark, had a very unique voice. Still think his voice is one of the most unique in all of metal. It's not very good anymore these days. Sorry, Corey, if you're watching this, it's not very good. He's beating it up with a lot of cigarettes and booze, I fear. And if he sees this, it's going to touch off another firestorm. But the reality is we did that deep dive, and Eric criticized some of the lyrical content for its bluntness and less, it was a non-PC time back then, man. You said things that you just don't say these days. And so, I thought his criticisms were fair, but they might have been a little woke for me personally. And that's, Eric, if you see this, I apologize, but that's just my personal opinion. And that's coming from somebody that has a trans child. So spare me the lectures. But, and Corey saw these things, and I had reached out to Corey and sent the link to my deep dive and said, hey, you want to come on for an interview? It would have been my second interview after Dan Mongre from Voivod. And he said, yeah, sure. Well, his press agent said, yeah, sure, which was his girlfriend. And then he watched the deep dive, and he left a lot of really unkind comments. Like, you guys are fucking clueless. You're stupid. This is retarded, stuff like that. And it's like, dude, we're just giving our opinions on the albums. And I will tell you that right now, I'm going to start off right off the bat right away with saying their first 3 albums are some of the finest alternative hard rock metal you're ever going to find consistency wise. Each of the first 3 albums is kick-ass. They are high 9s to 10 out of 10s for me. And the fact of the matter is, after that, it starts to trail off. There's still some good material later in the albums that come out, but he loses this multi-million-dollar deal with Decca or David Geffen, DGC, and he's still putting material out to my knowledge. I haven't looked lately. I picked one up maybe. I think it came out last year, the year before. So yeah, he's still putting stuff out. He's actually weirdly he's touring the UK next month, but I can't go because I'm off to see Cavalera the same night. Okay.
So
I would imagine is what kind of venues is he playing? Let's be honest. Is he playing smaller venues?
Clubs, yeah, he's playing clubs.
Yeah, like bars, big bars, right?
It's the same club. It's the Tivoli in Buckley, which is where I saw him on the Chill Pill tour. So it's still that, as you say, by that time he was starting to go down a little bit by Chill Pill, I think. So he's back to that sort of level now. So
okay, so I'm sorry, Storm Rider is Anna. It's kind of pronounced sort of like Jan or John, but maybe I'm wrong. We had this conversation early this morning because Anna's going to join us for one of these streams that we're doing. I invited him to come to the thing that we're going to talk about at the end. Remind me to talk about what's happening tonight. But anyway, Anna, thanks for popping in. So the reality of it is that Corey's never really he ascended by the second album. He was opening for Queensryche in large, arenas. I'm not sure about on Salutations what size venues he was doing. I know he played Castle Donington in front of a massive crowd. So he's kind of, he's tasted some, he's tasted some big success, right?
The thing is, Jeff, I don't know if he did the US as well, but in the UK, they toured with Metallica, didn't they? Because Metallica used to bring some cool young acts on, and he actually toured with Metallica as well, didn't he? So good point. He's open for a lot of big bands. He's played a lot of big festivals. Yeah,
I would tell you right now that if he came over to the United States and played anywhere besides maybe New York and LA and maybe Chicago and Detroit, where he's from, he would struggle to get 100 people in the club. He would struggle. And I'm not saying this to be inflammatory or to be a dick to Corey, because he still has, if he wants to come on, wants to contact me, I'm not going through what I went through last time to get him on. But if he wants to come on and talk, I'd be glad to do that. But I would bet my life on it that if he played Philadelphia, he'd be lucky to get 150 people tops. And that's just the reality of it. So that doesn't mean
he is still quite big in the UK, Jeff, to be fair.
Yeah.
If you say you're more, I don't know, 500 people, 1,000 max, still not.
Far bigger overseas and in Greece and in Europe. But in the States, he never conquered that mountain, so to speak, other than when he was opening for like Queensryche and some of the bigger acts that he did. He never got to headliner status. The band had a lot of inner turmoil. Him and John Rico didn't get along, and their drummer was actually murdered at some point in the UK. Mark Evans, I believe was his name. They found him killed. Pete McClanahan, the bassist, just passed away a little bit ago. So let's talk about these albums, man. So what are we doing today? We're doing a definitive albums deconstructed.
Yep.
And you chose which album?
I chose Salutations from the Ghetto Nation, which is that one.
Right. So let's talk. Did you want to say anything more about the band itself? Have you ever seen them?
I've seen them about 3 or 4 times, I think. First time was on the Chill Pill tour. I saw them 2 or 3 times on that and the Chill Pill tour. Bit later on, I did see him at the Castle Donington. I was there for that show. Metallica were actually headlining that one. I think it was around the Black Album tour, possibly. They were huge. Metallica were headlining. That was good. And I actually saw them. They were supporting the Almighty. I don't know if you remember the Almighty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ricky Warwick, right? Ricky Warwick.
That's him. Yeah. He obviously played with Thin Lizzy for a bit, didn't he?
Right.
He sang vocals with bass. He was vocalist for Thin Lizzy.
Actually, I think he still is. I think that is still an ongoing thing.
No, they did it, but then he changed the name to Black Star Riders. So
yeah, but now it's back. I believe it went back the other direction.
Okay.
I think it went the other way, actually. I think now Scott Gorham left to concentrate on Thin Lizzy. So I think Gorham and Ricky, the last I read, I think they're trying to do so. Anyways, we got. Come on now. Damn it.
Well, what I was going to say is they were supporting the Almighty, and a buddy of mine who does DJing and promo stuff and that sort of thing, he was going to be interviewing the Almighty, and he didn't drive. So I was designated driver. So when he went to interview the Almighty, I was just hanging around, not backstage, just on the main part of the arena. Well, big venue. And Wally Soul was sound checking. And it's quite interesting that I don't know when it was. I think it was around whatever time. So they'd got a new drummer in. So whether it was after Thingy had passed away, and quite a few times Corey went behind the kit and he was showing the drummer what to do. So you could tell he's obviously a very talented guy, Corey, and he knew all the instruments. And from then you could tell it was his band. And he
was always his band, yeah.
Yeah, he obviously
that caused a lot of problems, though, Johnny, because Rico didn't like that. Rico had a major problem with that. Those two to this day are still not. I was told in the interview, before the interview that never happened, do not bring up John Rico. I'm like, okay. So there's a lot of bad voodoo there, juju there. But, yeah, and I saw him. The only time I saw him was twice opening for Queensryche on Drugs, God, and New Republic tour. And yes, I want to make something clear, though, because if Corey pops in and here's the beginning of that, if he would watch this. Again, Corey, you have an open forum if you want to come in and talk. I'd love to talk to you. And it's not aggressive. I think these first 3 albums are yours. Even Chill Pill, I really, really like. There's some later material that's decent. There's a couple really cool songs. And I also think, got to mention one other thing. The Space Age Love Boys album is fucking killer, too. That's a killer album, man. Which he brought when Warrior Soul broke up and he created that. That album fucking rules. So I think Corey is a genius in a lot of ways. I think he's one of the greatest observational lyricists ever. The lyrics on a lot of these albums, these first 3 albums, stunningly killer, man. They're so on point about the decay of politics and big corporations and big oil and all that shit. He's brilliant. But I do think that later on, the material started to sound a little bit like garage band AC/DC at times. And that's not my thing. Other people might like it. It's not my thing. So that's all I want to say on that. I don't want to get into...
I think part of the thing that he didn't make it huge in the States was the political stance. I think his political stance affected him quite a lot.
Could have. Sure. Could have. No doubt. Because he's outspoken. He was very outspoken.
Yes.
And I don't mind that because I think 90% of what he says is right on the money and actually it's more prescient now than it ever was because that was literally, what are we talking here? The early 90s. So you're talking almost 30 years ago. And the shit that was bad then is really fucking bad now. I mean,
Yeah.
really, really bad. So, anyway, the long story short here is that I just want to make it clear that if by chance, because I did copy Corey in this, him and Warrior Soul, and if they happen to watch this, I am in no way, shape, or form am I shitting on his talent or the band in general. They're one of my favorite bands of the 90s. These three albums, which we're gonna touch on two, but probably mention another one, are three of the best albums from the 90s you're ever gonna hear as far as alternative hard rock and metal and psychedelic. And I mean, because Chill Pill gets really psychedelic and weird, man. I mean, it's a cool album in a different sort of way that we're not going to get into. But all right, so you chose Salutations from
Yes.
Ghetto Nation, which came out. Let me get to my notes. I got to cheat here a little bit. October 13th, 1992. The genre is alternative metal hard rock. Came out on David Geffen DGC, and it was produced by Corey Clark. So, all right, jump into this, Johnny. I don't know if you want to use the terminology I use. You don't have to. But when I go through these, when I go track by track, I use mega bangers for fucking out-of-sight tracks. I'm sorry, ultra mega bangers, alpha mega bangers for the killer tracks, mega bangers for the really good tracks, bangers for the solid tracks, and meh or skippers for the. And I don't have many skippers here. I only have one. So
yeah, nice.
Right.
Well, as you know, no one takes any notice of the way that you talk about them anyway. So I've seen these before. Everybody just forgets about that and talks about the shit. So I'm going to do the same.
Do what you want to do.
Right. So a little bit of pretext for me. This is the sweet spot for Warrior Soul. I do want to mention the second album as well, because it, as we discussed beforehand, Strokes God, the New Public is absolutely brilliant too. As you say, the first three albums are pretty much faultless, and it's damn hard to pick between them. I was actually talking to a buddy this morning, and I was telling him we were doing this and saying which albums, and he went, "Damn, that's hard to pick between them." And as you say, the one that you're going to pick, there was nothing like it when it came out, and it was just of a time it was just awesome. For me, this album, I'll go through the tracks in a second. I think it sounds a bit better, whether they had a bit more money. And for me, this is where Corey hit the perfect eye of the storm with some. A lot of the earlier stuff, that, as you say, it was more a utopia, dystopia sort of thing. It was like the end of the world coming, and like a wasteland and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And the country's just fallen apart, and and as it still is. But for me, he also just hits that pissed off enough attitude. And for me, part of Warrior Soul was that punk attitude. And I believe that this album has the most punk attitude for me.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Which is why it's my pick out of the first three. He just seemed to be just fully on it. And with the Warrior Soul albums, there seems to be, you can get a block of 3 tracks that follow on from each other that just absolutely smoke, that are like ultra mega F-off bangers or whatever you call them. Each of almost a 10 out of 10 track, and you go, wow. You could just listen to them 3, almost if you're going back to the album, you didn't want to listen to the whole thing, you know which 3 tracks you're going to pick. And for me, on this album, it's the 5th, 6th, and 7th track, which I'll go through in a second. I know you talk about the playability. This is the one I always go back to, so which is why this is my pick.
Okay.
But obviously, I'll go through the others, the other album with you.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about
the
tracks for you.
Yeah. Track 1, Love Destruction. Oh my word, what a way to start an album! Probably the best album starter for me, I would say, for this band. Love Destruction. It's just what it's all about. It's got a massive riff, very heavy. It's got that snotty, punky attitude. I put Perfect First Track as an intro. Excellent solo in it. Absolutely love it. As I say, John Lico's guitar is on fire. And I could be wrong, but I think this is possibly the last album with Lico on it. I think
next one, Chill Pill.
He did Chill Pill as well.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Because I know this. The first 2 albums was the 4 of them. For this album, they had a new drummer.
Well, hold on. A little bit of a correction there. The first album, the drummer was Paul Ferguson from Killing Joke.
Okay.
He was just, to my knowledge, he was just a studio guy. I don't know that he ever actually went out on tour with them. I could be wrong. Someone may correct me, but I didn't find anything that told me that he was a touring guy. They got Evans in for the second album on,
right.
And they were the core with Pete McClanahan, John Rico on guitars, Pete McClanahan on basses. So go ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, as you say, Mark Evans was on this one and not. I knew it was the drummer that changed between the 2 albums.
Yep.
But yeah, drumming is absolutely spot on. And now for me, there's a few tracks on a previous albums where low in the mix, and I find by now, because Cordy was producing himself, I'm guessing that's why he's whacking the vocals up, because it's his band. Yeah. So for me, production wise, I liked it because the vocals were more out there. As I said, his voice seemed to get a little bit better, a little bit snottier. As you say, in the late
raspier. It's raspier on this one. Yeah.
I said I did buy like the one that came out.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, the one that came out last year, the year before. His voice does sound shot. To be fair, it's still good, but good in a Lemmy.
You talking about drugs? You talking about drugs?
Well, just his voice just sounds as if it's been really shot to pieces.
Oh,
but
the
last one that came out like 2 years ago, or whatever.
It's shot.
Yeah. But it's quite weird because it kind of works in a Lemmy from Motorhead way. But as you say, it's more of a bar tribute band than a stadium selling band. His vocals, it still works, but it's not as good as he can't do the epic songs which he does on here. Blown, I think, is a great song. Goes straight into it. As I said, that the guitars are great in this one again. It's just your typical Warrior Soul classic song. Shine Like It. It's such a catchy chorus. It's more of a mid-paced one. Really good stuff. Dimension slows it down again. And I think that's why I like this album. There's more slower and faster. It seems to go up and down. There's more of it flows better for me. As I said, Dimension is obviously the slow. It's more of the ploggy stuff. And if you go back to Decade, it's more like The Losers or Lullaby, something like that. It's just got that. It's just another. It's almost trance-like. Obviously very political. It's excellent song. For me, what is probably my favorite Warrior Soul song ever, Punk and Belligerent. And as I said, this is probably why this is my favorite album. It's these next 3 songs, Punk and Belligerent. It's just, as I said, that you can tell he's got that sneer when he's singing. He's almost like a Billy Idol sort of sneer. His lips up and he's growling in his voice. It's just absolutely awesome. As I said, it's got a cracking solo in it. It's got some nice on the guitar. There's a part where it's got like an echoey sound. It's almost like an Ebo or something like that on it, which I know he's used in Lico used on on the first 2 albums as well. It's got that I think, do you call it an Ebo? The bit that you put on the strings and it just makes it scream.
Ebo.
And Ebo, yeah. I think he uses that. I think that's one of Lico's things.
Which song, Johnny?
I got it on Punk and Belligerent, but I think it's on another one as well. I did put further down. I probably used it again, but I know obviously he was using it on Last Decade quite a bit. It's quite a lot when they're going through, and there's a lot of instrumental bits. You can just hear it going on in the background. It's like,
I don't know. I'd have to listen for that. I didn't pick that up.
It's a long note, isn't it? You just put it on the thing, and I'm not a guitarist, but I've seen do it.
It could be a delay. It might be a delay that's hanging.
But it's just a nice effect, and it sounds really good on it. Right. So yeah, Punk and Belligerent. I said it almost the title sums it up. It's just my favorite Warrior Soul song. And then it goes straight into ass kicking rock and roll. It's got that bass intro, proper chunky riffs, fist in the air, classic, just anthem. It's just a proper anthem, just a rock and roll party anthem. And it's absolutely brilliant. I think it works well. And for me, as I said, there's 3 songs that are just pretty much 10 out of 10 perfect. There's Punk and Belligerent, and this one, ass kicking rock and roll. And then you go straight into the party, which is weirdly not about people partying. This is the Warrior Soul political track for me. Obviously, not knowing American politics because I'm not American, but obviously it's on about the welcome to the party,
Dude,
the Republican Party.
It's a scathing fuck you to the GOP. And you know what? I'm not a card-carrying Democrat, liberal. I'm not. I'm a little left of center, but only a tiny little bit. I think that going either one way, the other, or the other is dangerous. But I'll tell you, dude, he fucking rips them apart, and they are way worse now than they were then, because now we've got to contend with the MAGA bullshit, which I don't give a fuck. If you're watching this and you take umbrage at that, I don't care. Everybody knows me, knows how much I fucking despise Trump and think he's an evil human being. So I don't want to stray into too much politics, although kind of hard not to with this band. But
yeah, as I said, I obviously I'm not American. I don't know American politics. I don't even know a lot of UK politics. I'm not a political person, but it's such a song. So for me, Punk and Belligerent, ass kicking rock and roll, and the party. If someone says, "Give me 3 Warrior Soul songs," I'd probably go for them. I don't know if there was actually any singles off this album, and I think that's why I like it. With the first 2, you've got singles off there. With this, these could have been singles. I don't know, but just 3 songs that for me are just perfect 10 out of 10 songs, and helped define what Warrior Soul are to me. As I said, obviously the party's slightly more mid-pace. It's not full in your face, but the attitude comes with the lyrics as opposed to the music. And then you go into another of the slow ones, the Golden Shore, another sort of dreamy, awesome chorus, very much like the Losers, stuff like that. Epic song. Just absolutely brilliant. Into Trip Rider, another sleazy, heavy, sort of slow riff. Absolutely brilliant. Sing-along choruses. So one thing Corey likes is some absolutely spot-on choruses, brilliant choruses. Into I Love You, another anthem then. So they've gone down and then they're going back up again with the anthems. Again, I put sing-along chorus, chunky riffs, because this is what this album's about. Even with the slower songs, you've still got that. And then you go into the Fallen, which is another sort of political, no future, just dystopian, just absolutely brilliant song. It's sort of 6 minutes, and Warrior Soul do small, short, punky songs, and they do these long, epic, almost proggy songs, which is
that song is mind-blowingly good.
It
is my favorite track on the album by light years. Not because I think it's proggy, but it's a little more introspective and dark and kind of, as you say, dystopian. Everything. Corey writes about 2 things: dystopian, political futures, geopolitical futures, and fucking and getting laid and drinking and getting drunk. Those are his 2 main topics. That's kind of where it goes.
Yeah. And as you say, I think the 4 one has the Ebo in it, or possibly, as you say, delay, but it's definitely got a lot of that near the end. There's some bits where he's not singing in that, and the just musical parts for about, I don't know, say 30 seconds to a minute, and it's got just guitar sound. As I say, it just seems to sweep, and absolutely beautiful. And then it whacks you over the head just to finish off with Ghetto Nation, which has got another awesome bass intro. It's got the lifts, the drums, possibly a bit of Ebo lighting again in this. It's mid-paced, it's the lyrics, and it's just just the living the American way and how everything's fucked up, and it's just as you say, he's trying to sing for the working man, the man that goes out drinking and fighting and fucking and just a normal Joe. That's what he's trying to sing towards. But I think the problem is not enough of them sort of people heard his music. And I think a lot of, so I think that's the problem. As I said, I know you usually talk about production and the playability. For me, this album has all the best parts of Warrior Soul in it, and they sound the best. The two albums before it have got songs that were obviously singles, and if someone said, what would you play me as a Warrior Soul song that I need to hear to get me into them, I may pick one off the other two albums. But as a full album, which has all the gamuts, it's got political, it's got, as you say, drinking, fighting, punky attitude, but it's still got the beautiful, long, epic songs. So for me, this is actually a 10 out of 10 album.
Okay. And
yeah.
I'm gonna have a hard time arguing with you, but I am gone a little bit, and we'll see where that goes. But now I get to talk about this album too. So hey, Phil, what's up? Good to see you, man. Peter, good to see you. I don't know who Destroyer of Morbid. Don't know who you are, but some good stuff. Not sure what you meant by I do really this discussion format. I do really like, maybe. I don't know if that's what you meant, but thanks for popping in. So all right, so this album, again, this came out. This was the third album. We didn't mention this, but Warrior Soul is an American rock band formed by lead singer and producer Corey Clark. Clark started the band on a bet from a promoter in New York City's Pyramid Club after he did a solo performance art show called Corey Clark / Warrior Soul. Clark was determined he would have the best band in the city within 6 months. 9 months later, he signed a multi-album deal with Geffen Records. He went to New York instead of going out to L.A. because he felt he had a much better chance of finding talent that was a little more gritty and a little more punk infused, a little more alternative. And he probably would not have put this kind of band together out in LA at all, because he'd been in a band called Raging Slab, which is actually a Pennsylvania band from around Philadelphia. I've heard them. They're kind of like a heavy Lynyrd Skynyrd sort of vibe to them. They're not
I've heard of Raging Slab. Yeah.
I'm not.
I didn't know he was in them, but yeah.
Yeah, he was in there for a short while, drummer. He played in a band called L7, not the female L7, but he was from Detroit, but he kind of migrated to the city, and he had a vision for this band. One of the reasons I wanted to interview him and talk to him was to find out about how the band really formed in the early days. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. But this album, continues the run. Now we mentioned, you want to show the second album quick?
Yep.
This album to me is kind of like their progressive, more polished album. It's a little more polished than these other two, the first and the second, although you may think that the first is. I don't. But Drugs God and the New Republic had a lot of really it's a flawless album. It's a 9.5, 9.75 out of 10. It's it's a stunning album.
Great album.
I struggle with whether I wanted to choose that one or the first one, Last Decade, Dead Century. But I went with the first one because it just means a lot to me. So we'll get back to that in a minute. So for Salutations from the Ghetto Nation, man. Love Destruction. That intro riff, that killer opening riff, badass memorable chorus. Grooves like a motherfucker, man. This song grooves like no other on the album. I think it's just that.
Don't they look cool there, though? To be fair.
Yeah. Hey, Corey had some of the coolest hair ever back then, man. Yeah. But this is a mega, ultra mega alpha banger, man. When he does that, because you love destruction. It's just so killer, that chorus, man. You cannot. All right, Anna, we'll see you, buddy. If you're around later tonight, you want to pop in, let me know. I'll be watching my my Instagram. Then we get to Blown. Wicked chorus. The verse isn't as hooky as the chorus, but it's pretty damn close. This is only a mega banger, but man, I love the killer solo by Rico on this, man. I love the solo. And again, this is, just that chorus, you know, that why so blow, wind blow. It's just so fucking killer, man. Then we get to Shine Like It. Oh, this one's right there with Love Destruction, man. I mean, it is so good. Mega, mega, mega ultra banger. A ripper of a track, builds into a monster, and then you get to that chorus, man, is so good. So, you know, it's just like, go on and shine like it. And it's just got all the echo on it, and it's just killer, man. And Corey has just a very unique sound to his voice that virtually nobody else has. I mean, I compare people to Corey like Eric Forrest from Voivod when they did those E-Force albums. I think Eric Forrest sounds a lot like Corey Clark, a lot like him. Now, who was first? I'd have to look up. I think they're around the same time. But, you know, a lot of people also talk about the fact that, you know, grunge is kicking in here. And this is not a grunge band. They do not sound grungy. They sound, you know what they sound like? A heavier Cult. The Cult. With a little bit of, with his voice is kind of Ian Astbury, a little more raspy, a little more gritty, and a little more melodic at times than Ian Astbury in terms of like pitch inflection. He can kind of go up a little higher, a little lower. And then the guitars are psychedelic. They're crushing heavy. They're punky. You know, so I would say the Cult is probably one of the, if I remember correctly, both Eric and I talked about that being a touchstone band. So,
you've got to remember as well, because Astley obviously sang with the Doors.
Right.
Do you remember? He sang with the Doors, so he's got that range. He can do the vocal range, can't he, as well? So
Sure. And I mean, there was other bands like Days of the New were really big around then. They were kind of the acoustic grunge band, but Travis Meeks had that very, you know, well, don't touch me, I don't let me go, because I finally found a reason. Kind of in that vein, too. Everybody had a unique sort of style. They were getting away from the Eddie Vedders, you know, you know, that thing, and the Scott Stapps, and with arms wide open, you know, just that awful voice. I cannot stand Scott Stapp. I cannot stand Eddie Vedder anymore after the first album, but just we were getting into this artistic sort of thing. And again, I think that the Cult is the best touchstone. But all right, so you get Shine Like It, man. That is an ultra fucking banger off the charts. Dimension, droning, psychedelic, trippy, kind of this album's Tripping on Ecstasy, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. It's that kind of song. Again, that chorus is wicked, man. It's like, come into another dimension. And it's just so wicked, man. The choruses on this album are just so damn good, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, here's where you and I are going to differ a little bit, because I'm not a punk guy. So, Punk and Belligerent, I like it. It's punky. It's gnarly. Borders on a little bit of self-parody with the vocals, or not the vocals, the lyrics in a way. Still a solid track. Corey's voice sounds so wrecked on this song. It just sounds it sounds like he went out the night before, drank like a fifth of Jack Daniels, smoked a bunch of weed, which I don't even know if he did or didn't smoke weed back then. He could have, he might not. But I know he smoked a lot of cigarettes. There's no doubt about that. And still probably does. Man, his voice just sounds like he didn't sleep for days and went in there and did that, because I'm a punk and belligerent. You know, it's just like, it's so wrecked, man. But again, the other thing to note on this album, and particularly on this song, man, Pete McClanahan's bass, it is just boom, 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 it's punching you. Yeah, it's so good. Ass Kicking. Now, this is funny. And I gave that last one a mega banger, so I like it. I still like it. I just don't like it as much as you. Ass Kicking, you know, this one's probably the simplest song on the album. It's just almost like a Kickstart My Heart sort of vibe to it, but way nastier, way grungier, way sick and fucked up. And man, that's the chorus gets me every time, though, man. Every time. It's just, because I'm my ass kicking rock and roll. It's like, okay, yep, I'm in. The verse didn't sell me, but the chorus pulled me in. I love it. So, The Party, you talked about it, man. Again, another song that could kind of be boring, but the chorus is so killer. And Corey was not afraid to call out the hypocrisy and the ugliness of the GOP. At that time, this was under Bush Sr., right? This isn't George W. This is George Herbert Walker, the first daddy, right? And there was so much fucking graft and corruption, and it just continues on. That's not in any way, shape, or form saying that the Democrats aren't doing it too, because they are here. Every facet of politics in this country are twisted and fucking influenced by massive corporations and huge political action committee money. It's just every one of our politicians are bought and sold. They're just terrible. And that includes Trump. So anyone wants to argue that shit with me, get the fuck on here and I'll tell you you're out of your fucking mind. He is bought and sold by all of his rich cronies. So get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I don't care if I piss people off with that. I do not care. But yeah, man, I love how he was not scared to shit all over the rich. And, you know, these GOPers, they fuck the lower classes, the middle class. This is a wicked track, especially the lyrics, man. And, you know, welcome to the party, the Republican Party. It's just so vicious and vitriolic and hate-filled, and I love it. So that's a mega banger. No, that's a mega banger. Then we get to my favorite track, man, The Golden Shore. I love this song because they bring everything down. They slow it down, man, and it's just heavy, dreamy, gorgeous. It's kind of if you want to go there and say it's a prog rock song, I guess not really, but it's got that kind of leaning. It's 7 minutes long, something like that, and the guitar is beautiful. It's just an ultra mega alpha banger. Trip Rider. That song doesn't do much for me, man. It's just a bunch of wah-wah. It's just an okay song. That is not my favorite song. The next song, I Love You. Kind of a punk rocker thrasher that's pretty mundane. It's very repetitive. So those are the two songs on the album that kind of make this one dip to a 9.5 for me out on this one.
Yeah.
But The Fallen, man, second best track on the album for me. Holy shit, man. Killer mid-tempo, trippy, spacey, psychedelic monster, man. It reminds me of Joy Division. Reminds me a little bit of maybe Bauhaus to a degree, which Corey loved all those bands quite a bit. They covered Joy Division on the last album. I forget the name of the song. Inner Zone, right?
Mm.
Yeah, Inner Zone.
Yeah.
And then you got, you know, for this one, it's from the top of the mountain, baby, we're falling hard. It's just that chorus is just down. And also on this one, Pete McClanahan, that bass, man, down, 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 down. It's such a memorable bass line that's super cool, man. And listen to the lyrics on this, man. I'm the hard luck kid, throw the bones on the fire, tear holes through worlds, making change through violence. Who's really running the place you call home? Anyways, who climbed the mountain, sell the kisses for God's love, obsolete factories on rust ground dying, formula cancer, America's crying, decline beauty, worship icons, it's your religion, do what you are told. From the top of the mountain, baby, we're falling hard down. Out in the streets, throw the books on the fire, let them eat debt while they starve on desire. Who's really running the place we call home? It's your religion, believe in the gilded throne. From the top of the mountain, blah, 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 all doomed liars fall. Walk with me to the heart of the city, to the purple mountains, through the nation of death that steals our future, programs the children, makes changes through violence while cries of freedom it worships, controls, and speaks of hollow victories of the land it stole. And that's right there, what he's saying about there, of the land it stole. That's America. We stole the land from the fucking indigenous, the American Indians. That's what he's talking about. So fucking killer lyrics on that one. And then we get to Ghetto Nation, man, a mega banger. Again, this is an alpha mega banger. Super catchy chorus and ripping verses. You know, you got that salutations from the Ghetto Nation. It's just, and he does that. He always does that thing. Like he lays that where he multi-tracks it. It's so eerie and spooky sounding, right? You know, killer. Easy 9.5 out of 10. The only issue I have is a few of the lesser tracks could have been dumped, and then it would have been like a 47 or 46 minute album, and it would have been a 10 out of 10. Replayability is high, 7 or 8 for me. I really love listening to this album. Production is killer for me. The bass is super prominent. The guitar tone is like it'll sear your fucking eardrums. It's so intense and heavy. And then you got Corey. Corey's always Corey, man. He's just on these early albums, man. He takes no prisoners. He's amazing. So yeah, hard to argue this isn't their best, but I don't think it is, and here's why. So we'll get into the first album.
Yeah.
Warrior Soul. And this is Last Decade Dead Century. Came out April 17th, 1990. Again, alternative metal, hard rock. Came out on Geffen, DGC. The producer was Jeff Workman. He was the engineer. Corey was basically the producer. And that's very unusual that you sign a giant record deal and the label says, yeah, you go ahead and produce your own album. They almost always make you. Did you have the slipcase one?
No.
Okay. I got the reissues with the bonus tracks and the remastered one.
No, this is the original. This is all my Warrior Soul.
I don't really notice much difference, to be honest with you. Jeff Workman did a lot of stuff with like Dokken and Motley Crue and all those LA bands because this was produced out in LA. And yeah, man, so I'm going to get right into it. This fucking album, dude, this album means so much to me. Like, this is one of those albums that if I was to pick, I don't know, 20 albums I wanted to be buried with, this one's going with me. I fucking love this album. So it's always hard to separate your first album love with a band and say, oh, that's not the best one. But it's just one of those things. It's just how it works, your brain works. So starts off with Corey talking about, he's like doing a lot of lyrics, like kind of like down, out, down, out, down, out. And he's like spitting these lyrics out, right? I didn't copy those down, but yeah. So this is I See the Ruins, and the lyrics are killer, man. Corey's angry, hateful, giving the government one-fingered salute. Love John Rico's guitar tone on this album. Oh, my God. His guitar tone on this album is sick. Sick, sick, sick. It is so badass. Yeah. Wasted in prison, a bad decision. Just love that chorus, man. I see the ruins. Just amazing. Anyways, moving on to the first track I think I saw the video for, which prompted me to go get this, was We Cry Out. Super heavy, yet super melodic and killer. The first song I'm pretty sure I heard right away grabbed me, made me run out to the local mall and grab this CD. And I think the lyrics in this are just like I See the Ruins and Loser and what other song on here? Superpower Dreamland, Skipper, Blown Away. All the lyrics on this album are so, especially Blown Away, are so prescient to today. And man, this song, people hear what I say. Da, 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 da. We cry out. Just so fucking good, man. And then we get to, man, arguably, let me double check. Yeah, I don't know, man. I have a lot of favorite tracks on this album, pretty much every one. So the first song, Alpha Mega Banger. Second song, Alpha Mega Banger. You see how this is going to go. The Losers. This is a ballad for the dead and dying and the destroyed. The lyrics are so cutting and real and street level. It's a gorgeously dark, sick, sad song, but it's beautiful, man. I mean, it's like, here's to the losers, the drug abusers, to the rejects and the imperfects. It's just so, and that's where he does the, the most beautiful whatever in the world, man. Just so damn good. Downtown. You probably like this song a lot because this is the ass-kicking, fuck you, napalm death, fucking punk-ass song, man.
Oh, yeah.
How does it go? It's a Saturday night. Gonna get in a fight. What the hell is it? That's the way we live. Downtown. It's so vicious, man. So goddamn good. Punky, gnarly, ass kicker of the album. It's the most darkest, vitriolic, pissed off, and heavy track on the album. But the chorus kills, man. And then we get to kind of the art rock, trippy, psychedelic tune, right? We get to Tripping on Ecstasy, man. And that guitar figure, Johnny, you get it in your head, you cannot forget it, man. It's like that. It's kind of like, in a weird way, what do you think of when you think of that song?
Oddly, I've got different. I'll talk about it when I talk about. But I've got certain memories of the song simply because of a certain time. It was the first track I actually heard by Warrior Soul.
Okay,
and I'll go through it when I do mine.
That's
But
cool.
but
that guitar figure at the beginning kind of reminds me of a band I talked about in comparing them. It's not exact, it's not even the same notes, but it just has that same vibe to it that She Sells Sanctuary.
She Sells Sanctuary. Yeah.
And you got on Trivial Ecstasy, you got that. It's very similar, man. Very similar.
I never thought that. Yeah.
Gets in your ears and you can't unhear it. So I love that song, man. Killer. Okay, now we come to the one little part of the album that I struggle with always when I listen to, and that is 4 More Years. What he's talking about is the Bush administration. It's a found sound collage thing with Corey having his voice sped up and kind of like he's on helium, and it's a political montage. And for me, the only misstep on the album, I get why he wanted to put it on the album. I fully respect that, but I think it breaks up the rhythm of the album. Maybe it would have been better maybe to start it that way, although probably would have turned a lot of people off, but maybe at the end, or I don't know. To me, it just didn't fit the album. But it's very much a cautionary tale. And, it's just one that never changes, this topic of greed, political, influence, murder, assassination, keeping the poor and middle class down. That's everywhere. That's in every country, everywhere. If you're in England, you've got the royals who are billionaires, right? And, and how much do they help you guys? I don't know because I don't live there. So I have no idea, right?
Yeah, they don't.
They don't. Just like the Republican Party does not help the middle class. They want to get rid of Social Security and entitlement programs to a large extent. But they know if they do that, none of them will ever get back into office ever again. So they're very careful. We just finally, after a month, elected a new speaker. And, of course, he's a pro-Trumper and he's a election denier and all that bullshit. And I guarantee you, and he's also a super Bible thumper, man. And the last thing in the world we need is another fucking, for me, another ideologue in there that is a theocrat in a lot of ways. And I think he is. And, he wants to tell women that women should go to jail if they have an abortion after I think it's 9 weeks or something. Everything he keeps talking about how we are a theocratic republic. It's like, fuck you, dude, man. That guy is terrible, and I wish bad things on people like that. Anyway, I think I'm turning people off. They're leaving because of the politics. But hey, man, if you listen to Warrior Soul, you better understand almost every song that isn't about fucking and drinking, it's about politics. So there you go. All right, Superpower Dream. Yeah, that's a skipper for me. Maybe my only skipper in the Warrior Soul catalog in the first 4 albums.
I'm not.
Superpower Dreamland, another killer earworm, big chorus, heavy monstrous groove. The Superpower Dreamland. It's just got that earwormy thing. And then we get to probably your second favorite track, Johnny, if I'm guessing. Another punky banger. Charlie's Out of Prison. I don't know if he's talking about Charles Manson on this one. I'm not sure. But, man, this is a brain smasher. No relation to Ben. This is a brain-smashing, beat you over the head with a sledgehammer track. Charlie's Out of Prison! It's just so fucking killer, man. Love it. It's an earworm, but it's not an earworm. It's an ear maggot in your brain. That's how I look at it. And last 2 tracks, Blown Away, man. Man, I love this song. Mid-tempo banger. Again, the social commentary at its finest. Let me read some of these lyrics quick. The cash flows out. The drugs roll in. The nations rage while the children sin. Officials addicted to dough. The bankers grin. But we all know they can't stop it because they're lining their pockets, man. That is such a killer line, man. That is just so good. And then the chorus is, we're blown away in the USA. It's just, can you dig it? That's what he says at the end.
Yeah.
I can dig it, Corey. I fucking love it, man. And then they do they can't stop it because they're buying their rockets, man. Like, just, again, that's so on point, man. We could help millions and millions and millions of people in this country by not funding wars all over the place, right? That's not to say that don't think we shouldn't help Ukraine, but or other countries or Israel. But we fund so much overseas bullshit. We do not take care of our people. We don't fucking care about our people. That's what this song is saying right here. Exactly what it's saying. We're blown away in the USA. Overseas, they love our green. Keep us happy with our little machines. I love this line. We live on credit. We live on dope. There's no promises when you're living on a hope. Man, that is fucking brilliant. We're blown away in the USA, blah, blah, blah. All right, last two songs, Lullaby. Oh, my God, dude. Oh, by the way, Blown Away. Ultra mega alpha banger. That's just a monster song. In conclusion, man. Or no, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead of one. Lullaby. What a monstrously ugly, beautiful song, right? It's just so dark and I mean, a lullaby to make you feel better. It's just so beautiful, man. I call it a ballad for the doomed and the damned, like the Loser track, like the Losers. So last song, In Conclusion, another banger of a conclusion. I think it's a little below Lullaby, though. It's just a mega banger, not an ultra mega banger. And here we go. Some more lyrics quick. In conclusion, say a prayer for us. We must say goodbye. If we meet again, please remember why we say goodnight. Take good care now, all earth's children. Learn from wisdom's cry. Hear the unspoken. See without sight. Learn yourself inside. Media children pacified. Information classified. Governments hide behind religion. Kids like us get thrown in prison. We come to our own conclusions. Yeah, man. You know, I was not going to get out of this. You knew you were not going to get out of this without hearing me sing a lot, dude. Whether you like it or not, it just happens on these, man. In conclusion, mega banger. I got to tell you, man, this album is so close to a 10 out of 10. If only 4 more years was on the album, it would be a 10 out of 10. It's a 9.90 out of 10 for me. I rarely break it down that close, but I had to, man. It's perfectly balanced. The production to me is amazing. The guitar tone is sick. Paul Ferguson's drumming is great. Pete McClanahan's bass, again, that's high in the mix. I guess maybe the one argument you might have is that the vocals are a little lower in the mix than on Salutations, and I could kind of see that, but I still think Corey's it's still very much a Corey album.
Yes.
Yeah, and man, dude, this album just, if someone came to me and said, well, which album would you recommend? I would be like, well, buy all the first 3. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. Trust me. If you like that song, like say they heard, Shine Like It, or they heard We Cry Out, or they heard Hero. Hero from the second album. Yeah. I'll be your hero in my own time. Anyways, they hear any one of those songs, they're gonna love the whole album, all the albums. So to me, there is no dad because we could pick all 3 of the first albums. I think after the third album, things start to slip, and a lot of the reason is because John Rico and Corey started having, to me, from my understanding, is that John Rico and Corey started to have a lot of difference of opinion. Rico wanted more control over what was going on. I don't know if there was maybe a production issue. I think John was wanting more guitars in the 4 and more guitar playing and stuff. So who knows what was going on there, but so how about you? What's your thoughts on this album?
Right. So I'll go into what I was saying about tripping on ecstasy before we get to it. I'll just do a little bit of a thing. you were saying how you first heard them was by MTV. So my story is, before we had the kids and that sort of thing, before we got married, I know my wife. Before that, we were dating for quite some time, and there was another couple who we used to do a lot with, and the guy Andy, this was obviously back then. He went to see one of his old school friends who was actually in Norway. So Andy's the sort of person, whenever you go there, he would say, I've heard the latest thing, and he'd put it on and make you listen to it. Whether he knew you liked the shit or not, he'd always play it. So he came back from Norway and he went, guys, I just had the most awesome time. I've discovered a new band. And basically what happened is he went into this club. I don't know if it was a rock club or just a standard nightclub in Norway. I'm guessing it was some sort of a rock and metal club. And basically said they went in there and one of the tracks they played was Tripping on Ecstasy. So you could imagine that in a club atmosphere. Yes. Absolutely banging. Perfect. He said that was the song that I had in my mind for the whole way. I had to find out who it was. I went to see the DJ. He told me who it was, and I had to get the album. And the album was obviously Last Decade, Dead Century. So that's how I knew Warrior Soul, because he had the album. He went straight to that one song. He played it, and then finally did play the whole album. I fell in love with it. I had to buy it when I had to come. So weirdly, this is my start off point, so should be my favorite album as well. But for the reasons I discussed, as I said, I picked Salutations because for me, it's more of a complete Warrior Soul album. As I said, when I was speaking to my buddy earlier this morning, he said the thing with Last Decade, Dead Century, nothing sounded like it. And as you've alluded to as well, no album sounds like that. No band sounded like that at the time. I think that's why I'm guessing it was Lars that liked them in Metallica. There's something about them that there's no one like them, that they have a mix of bands that shouldn't work with the punky stuff, your progressive stuff, but you've also got full on rock and roll, you've got metal, you've got so many different parts. And for me, this is a starting place. And I'll tell you, for me, this is like the first album by Black Sabbath. It was something no one had ever heard before, and it defined almost a genre or sound. Yes. But for me, it's not their favorite album. It's not my Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is not my favorite Sabbath album, right. But there's no denying it started something, and yes. I can still go back and play it, and it still sounds absolutely brilliant. And I love all the songs on it, even Fairies Wear Boots. It's an absolutely brilliant album. Although it's not paranoid. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm waffling. But so, as I said, I love the album. I always have done. It's probably a 9.6 out of 10 for me. And I said Salutations is 10, and I would probably put the second one, what's it called again? Drugs, Gods and New Republic as a 9.5. So, as I said, it's Salutations, Last Decade, and then Drugs for me. What's that? The European version, Last Decade, shortened version of 4 More Years. Mine's I
did not know that.
Well, mine's got 4 More Years on it, and mine's a European version, as far as I'm aware. It's not a US one. Geffin.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It says just the vinyl version.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So mine's the original
which
CD.
I've never owned the vinyl because I had made that migration in like 87, 88 or whatever. CD, yeah.
You and me both. Yeah, I wasn't buying vinyl then. But it was all, as you say, it was all CDs, hence why the first 5, I've got the first 5 Warrior Soul albums on CD. I like all 5, to be honest. I even like the 5th one, which isn't a Warrior Soul album, as you say, because Rico wasn't with them then. And there's more rocky, punky songs on it. There's less of the progressive stuff but anyway, I do like it as an album.
Which one?
The one that came after Chill Pill, is it?
Yeah, what is it called? Well, actually, after Chill Pill was the Space Age. Was it
Playboys.
Love Boys or Cowboys?
Play, Playboys.
Playboys. Space Age Playboys. Which actually I've been looking for. If you ever run across a copy of that over there, man, please grab that for me because it's hard to find over here, man. I never, unless I go pay $30 or $40 for a CD on eBay, which I like it, but I don't think I want to pay that much for it. But if you ever run into it in the wild over there, please grab that for me.
Okay, right. Anyway, let's swap on.
Johnny, hang on. Johnny, hang on. We lost your signal. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So
okay, you locked up.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead, start over.
Yeah. So, as you say, I See the Ruins. It's got the Warrior Soul sound to it. It's not as instant for me as Love Destruction, but as you say, it's starting off the tone for the album. I think this album is not as punky and not as full in your face, so that's why you couldn't have started with one of the stronger stuff. I See the Ruins, as you say, it's got all the delay and all that sort of thing, the echo on his voice and that sort of thing. Into We Cry Out, sort of a mid-paced great song. For me, as I said, there's usually on an album, there's 3 tracks that you can pick and go, these are the 3 you need to listen to. For me, it starts with The Losers. Absolutely brilliant. What a solo. The only problem with this, as I said, this is the one that I first heard the Ebo. I think he uses Ebo on this one, on The Losers. But again, as you say, it could be delay. It's like I think it's about 6 minutes song. It's got that, it's slow, it's build, it's emotional. It's got like the military style drumming in it. Yeah, which I absolutely loved. Absolutely brilliant. Corey's voice, as you say, absolutely stunning. Then you go straight into Downtown, which is one of my favorite tracks off here. It's got excellent chorus, mid-paced, brilliant guitar sound. And then into Tripping on Ecstasy, which is, as you say, just an upbeat. It's almost like a techno sort of droney type sound. The guitars are absolutely brilliant. They say the bass is absolutely kicking in. You've got trancey stuff. Just a brilliant song. As I said, the first Warrior Soul song I heard, so you can't fault it. And then we got 4 More Years, which for me, as you say, it goes for too bloody long. It's spoken word. Yeah. I switch off for that one.
It's a weird place because it's right in the middle of the album, so it really kind of, in my opinion, disrupts flow. I'm sure if Corey was here, he'd say you're not getting the point of it, man, or whatever. But I mean, I will tell you right now that the fact that he was the producer, he got away with that because they really were marketing him to be the next sort of big thing. And it didn't quite pay off the way they wanted it to, but I think they let him get away with that. Frankly, had a real producer been in there of the era of that time, they would have said, dude, you got to shit can this. This is not.
They always should have got rid of it or made it like a 30-minute intro to the next song or to one of the other songs.
Or maybe you mean a 30-minute or 30-second?
30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have worked.
Another song.
That would
not a 4-minute thing. You switched off after the bit. It's like
it's too much. And frankly, if you didn't live in the U.S., even if you were politically aware of what was going on at that point in time with Desert Storm, well, that was George W. But 1,000 Points of Light stuff and all that shit. I mean, the Reagan, post Reagan years with Iran Contra and fucking all that shit. Glasnost and the Berlin Wall coming down. You might not really fully get it. And I'm not even sure I fully get it. I mean, I listen to it and I understand what's going on, but it just goes on too long. Yeah, a minute 35, even that's kind of pushing it. But I could see like a 40-second or a 30-second intro piece where he kind of slams it all in. I could get that. But yeah, 4.5 minutes is just too much.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you what's quite interesting. You said you thought there was 2 songs too many on Salutations. If you take 2 songs off, that gives you 10 songs. If you take 4 More Years off this one, that give you 10 songs as well.
Yeah.
So 2 10-song albums, they'd be pretty much damn perfect, wouldn't they? Let's face it.
Pretty much, for sure. This one would be, both of them would be perfect for me if you got rid of those songs.
Yeah. Yeah, two off the other one off this one. 10 songs each, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Superpower Dreamland, absolutely excellent, great lifts. Now this is the one I thought Cordy's vocals were low in the mix. For Superpower Dreamland, I find his vocals were too low. For me. Yeah. That's one of the things I put down. I thought
song or the whole album?
Just for Superpower Dreamland.
Okay.
I just for this one. So I don't know, obviously when I was listening to it over and over, I thought, I can't hear his vocals well. And I said that was the thing I found with Salutations. You could hear the vocals, even the ones he was spitting out, the ones he was singing, you could hear them. This one seemed mixed rather low. I don't know whether it's me now, whether, say, if you've got a different version of it that's been cleaned up, I'm not sure.
No. Well, no,
so, yeah.
That's right. I do have the remaster version. It might be.
That's what I mean. So maybe that's changed, which is why you didn't notice it. But for me, on the original one, yeah, vocals were too low.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people don't really know exactly what remastering is, and I'm not going to lie and say I'm sure of exactly every nuance that goes into it. But usually, what they do is they take the master tracks or the master of the mixed tracks. They don't remix it, but they generally just EQ things differently and repress it. And a lot of times, man, I find remasters just aren't that what they're cracked up to be,
No.
So
no.
I don't know. That's just me, but I don't recall. I was listening to a stream, so it could have been the one you have. It could have been. I didn't think it sounded bad, but that's just, who knows?
Okay. Right. Charlie's Out of Business, you say. This is I put one in big letters. I put drums. I thought the drums were absolutely brilliant on this. As you say, it's the punkier one. Excellent solo. As I said, John Lico's solo was absolutely brilliant. It kind of builds near the end, and it's almost like it's very punky. And yeah, loved it. Blown Away, as you say, Blown Away in the USA. Absolutely awesome stuff. Another great solo. My vocals are even worse than yours, so that's why I don't sing at all.
They're worse than mine. Oh, I see. Okay.
They're worse than yours. Yeah. They were fine. By the way, just out of interest, when I was a kid, I was actually in the church choir. I was actually a chorister, so I had a high-pitched voice. But obviously, once my voice got low again, then that was me out the choir. I couldn't sing anymore. So, onto Lullaby. What an absolutely brilliant song. Slow, emotional. Had put in brackets The Losers Part 2, but it is, but it isn't. There is more to it, and they are different songs. That was, that's what. It's almost like they were looping back after the Losers sort of third track, and then just coming near the end, they brought it back up again, showing that's to try and bring it down. And then, as you say, in conclusion, absolute, it's another fast-paced one just to finish it off. So yeah, as I said, it's a I'd say a 9.6, 9.7, possibly out of 10 for me. Production bugged me a little bit. The playability, I'd go back to it, but not the whole thing. As I said, I'd probably go Losers, Downtown, Tripping on Ecstasy, and then maybe fast forward to Superpower Dreamland and Blown Away. But as I said, while we're here, I say there's a block of 3 songs on each one. I might as well tell you for Drugs God and The New The Public, it's Hero, Wasteland, and Children of the Winter. Oh my word. They're probably, as things go, Hero is one of the ones. I think if you type into YouTube What Do You Sell, I think for the Hero video is the one that comes on the most, because I know that was one of the bigger ones here in the UK. I don't know what it was like in the States, but Hero was
I think it was that. The Answer was another one. The Answer and
Wasteland was huge here in the UK. I've actually got the CD single still, a Hero, I must admit, which is really good.
Kidding.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was going to try and search it out, but
read the songs off. I forget. It starts off with Interzone, right?
We've got intro first. We've got another little intro. Then you got Interzone, the title track, Drugs God Knew the Public, The Answer, Rocket 88, which is
love that song.
Yeah, great song. Jump for Joy, another one with them choruses.
I love that song, man. Might be my favorite on the album.
Yeah, brilliant song. My Time, which is a little bit of a...
That's an okay one. Yeah, that's an okay
one. Real Thing, Man Must Live as One. And
that's
then you go...
That's a great one.
Yeah, then you got the last two, which is Hero, Wasteland, and Children of the Winter.
Yeah, that has one or two tracks in the middle that are kind of
which is why the other two are better for me. This is probably only a 9.5, but as I said, Wasteland is another one of them ones that when you search through on there's a video to Wasteland, and Wasteland's another one like Love Destruction, in where it really kicks in, and it's a sing along, it's anthemic, it's it's another sort of it's a bit dystopian and that obviously, but it's just kicking you in the face and that sort of thing. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, as I said, I could have very easily picked Drugs God. I will say that Salutation is third on my list of these three, and or second if you want, because I have two first. I could go either way with Drugs God or Last Decade. The songs Drugs God, Children of Winter, Jump for Joy, Hero, man, dude, and Inner Zone and The Answer. Oh God, so good, man. I even like Real Thing pretty well too. But yeah, man. I mean, if you leave here with anything after watching this, you got to understand this band, these first three albums by them, superlative, man. They're just amazing albums. They're heavy, at times punkish, at times alternative. They're metal, hard rock. They're even a little gothy a little bit at points in time, a little proggy. They're kind of like, they kind of incorporate a lot of everything. But the thing that they're not is they're not wanky. They're not wanking off. The solos are not these big, long, all the guys back then were doing the tapping and shit. John Rico didn't do that. In fact, in a lot of ways, you could say, well, John wasn't that an amazing guitar player, but I think he was because of the way he played understated solos. He played more like a punk player, or like like a Sonic Youth. You could tell that the UK bands had a great deal of effect on them in terms of Bauhaus and Joy Division and New Order and things of that nature. You could kind of hear that Depeche Mode. They didn't have keyboards for the most part, but they had just this gritty sort of just this gnarly factor to them. And I mean, again, like I said, Rico wasn't like some Yngwie dude or Steve Vai. No, he wasn't at all. He played more like what's his name from MC5 or something, Wayne Kramer, but a little better than that. But that's another band that had the Stooges, and Wayne Kramer have a lot of influence on Warrior Soul, big time.
But also, you're talking guitars. You go back to the Cult, Billy Duffy. Now he's a very understated guitar. When there was only had him, as you say. Also, when you're thinking of guitarists, sometimes the ones that do the wank, have got other than guitarists with them. Now there was only one guitarist, so he's doing the man lead. So you've got to give him props for that. And I say same with Duffy out the Cult for most of the time.
Yeah, I would say Duffy's a little bit more of an elevated player than Rico is, as far as but you're right, they're kind of in a similar vein. I mean, they have a similar sort of vibe to them. Big power chords, big crunchy riffs, lots of cool little interludes, little fills, but nothing that's like scary, flashy. They're not gonna blow your mind away with like that kind of shit. They're just not that kind of music, not that kind of band, not that kind of player. So yeah, man. So as usual, when we get to the end of these, more or less, we don't come into these trying to convince one another that our album is the one that I've been kind of given a bunch of shit by some of the guys being, well, if you're talking about definitive, that's like the album that kind of like is an emblem of what the band is. And it's like, yeah, but most bands have 2, 3, 4 of those albums. You know what I mean? So, and generally it's going to be affected by when you came in on the band, when you became a fan, how you became a fan, and where you go back to. Where's your sweet spot? I mean, I like the fourth album, Chill Pill. some great songs on there, man. Shit like Cargoes of Doom. Oh my god, man, that song is fucking insanely cool. 2 or 3 other ones on there that are really, 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 really good.
I didn't pull it. I wish I had now. It's downstairs, so
That's all right. But I mean, that's definitely where I start. I mean, with the inner turmoil in the band between Rico and Corey Clark, that's where you start to see the cracks in the facade a little bit. And that album is not as good. And you can also tell that it's become more of like a Corey Clark solo album with those guys playing on it because he's on the cover of it. You know, before it was all the guys.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
on the third album, but you're already moving that direction. And who's in the front? It's Corey Clark. It's not the other 3 guys. So you can kind of see what's starting to happen.
That's what you got. Yeah.
And so there are other albums. Let me do something.
He's also by himself on the back of the actual thing. It's just Corey. So yeah.
Oh, is he?
That's just Corey there. Yeah. That's
yeah. So I mean, you can kind of see what's starting to happen, right? And that's why Rico and some of the
as well. It's just him standing there with the title track, the titles. But as you say, yeah.
So yeah, we get to Space Age Playboys, which was 94. Which if anybody's watching has a copy of that, please let me know because I want that album. That is a really, really killer album. But then we get to, Destroy the War Machine, originally called Chinese Democracy, which actually isn't awful. There's some good songs on it. But then we get to Stiff Middle Finger. We get to Back on the Lash, which I think was maybe the one you got. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's 17. You got Rock and Roll Disease in 19. You got Cocaine and Other Good Stuff in 20. And last year's Out on Bail. And I got to be honest with you, man. None of them did a whole lot for me. I didn't hate them, but I didn't like them. They just sounded like mundane AC/DC albums to me, and Corey's voice just sounds really tough. Like no amount of auto-tune and no amount of cleanup can kind of fix it, in my opinion. And Corey, again, man, you're welcome on. I would love to have you on. I'd love to talk to you about this stuff, but you're probably not going to want to because I'm not being kind about the later albums. But I don't think I'm being unkind. I'm just saying they're just not for me, man. They just don't work. They don't stand out to me. And the thing that set Warrior Soul, Corey Clark apart was the first 3 and even the fourth album and Space Age Love Boys or Playboys. I always want to say Love Boys. They're just fucking amazing albums, man. Great songwriting, great production, memorable earworms, but heavy as fuck, alternative, psychedelic, trippy at times, weird, super political, or super hedonistic, right? It was either one or the other, either, super political or super hedonistic from the aspect of fucking chicks and getting drunk and getting into fights. That was the other topic du jour a lot of the time. And so, this is Warrior Soul. And
Jeff, I was thinking, you're on about the Space Age Playboys album.
What about it?
That is a Warrior Soul album.
Yeah, it technically is, but
because
it is. You're right. It's called Space Age Love Playboys. That's the name of the album, right?
There's 2 albums out there. There's one just called Space Age Playboys, which is the Corey solo, but there's also a Warrior Soul album just called Space Age Playboys.
Space Age Love Boys. Yeah, right. Yeah. I keep calling it Love Boys. You're right. That was technically the 5th Warrior Soul album, but it was I think only Corey was in it, or maybe Pete was in it. I'm not sure. Pete might have been in it. I know the drummer wasn't in it, and I know Rico wasn't in it.
Yeah. Well, I said I got that album downstairs as well.
Which one?
The Space Age Playboys.
Go grab that because I'm curious. Go grab that quick. Grab that and chill pill real fast.
All right,
mate, wrap up then. Anyway, guys, for those that have hung in here and been bored out of their minds for an hour and a half, we appreciate it. And a little bit of news for tonight. In 6 hours, the Catacombs of Depravity returns, 9:00 Eastern time. We are doing, Johnny is going to be on. He needs to go get some sleep, so I'm going to let him crash. We are doing top 10 horror movies, top 10 horror soundtracks, a mixture of. We've got real quick, Johnny. I'm running over tonight. So 9 o'clock tonight, Catacombs of Depravity, number 4. We're just calling it, top 10 Halloween faves, movies, soundtracks, whatever swag. We've got a ton of people. My co-host Dennis, OG Press from Analog Archives. We've got Matt from Accusation Network. We've got Tom from Cine Arcadia. We got Johnny Mac. We've got Rick from the Dreadful Minutes. We've got Todd from CD Cult, although he doesn't do anything on YouTube anymore, but he's Todd totally like the amphibian or whatever, reptile, whatever they are. Totally Todd on Instagram. We've got, hopefully, Chromium Dioxide is going to stop by. Nick from Thralls is going to stop by. Chris from Metalomania is going to stop by. Who else? Maybe Eric Bauer from Eric Bauer is going to stop by. So shit tons of people. Celestial Effigy, my buddy Andrew, Nate, young Nate's going to pop in. So lots and lots and lots of people. Probably going to be a bit of drunkenness tonight. Probably not me because of my illness. I don't really drink a lot, but you never know. And
I will be drinking. It starts 2 a.m. here, Jeff. I ain't drinking.
No drinking? No drinking?
Not tonight, no.
That's cool.
So
some of us may be in costume. I know I will be. There you go. There's Chill Pill. What are the tracks on there? What's the tracks on there? I do like that song, Ha 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 Ha.
Yeah. We've got Mars, Cargoes of Doom, Song in Your Mind, Shock 'em Down, which is absolutely brilliant. Shock 'em Down. Shock 'em Down.
Oh, Shock 'em Down's killer, yep.
Yeah. Let Me Go, Ha Ha Ha, Concrete Frontier, I Want Some. That's another good Warrior song. Proper banger. Then you've got Soft and High Road.
Yeah, the last 2 songs are kind of and also I'm not a big fan of that one in the middle that you said. I forget which one is. Song in Your Mind's great. Shock 'em Down's great. Ha Ha Ha. What's the one before Ha 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 or after it?
After Ha 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 is Concrete Frontier.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. What's the one before it?
Song in Your Mind or I Want Some.
I Want Some. I'm not crazy about that one either. So that album's to me it's probably like a 70-30 or 65-35. Yeah. But all the first 3, man, they're bangers.
This is
that's it. I gotta get that. I gotta find that, man. I might go surfing after we get off here. I may go try to find one on eBay.
Also, there's this one, which is the
Odds and Ends.
No, this is just called.
Oh, that's the Space Age Love Boys. Yeah.
This is the Space Age, and the album's actually called New Rock Underground.
Yeah, so I don't remember that one being that great. What about you?
So you got this? No, it's not. This one is great.
Oh, killer!
This has got Rocket Engines, The Drug, Let's Get Wasted, No No No, Television, Pretty Faces, The Image, Rotten Soul. Rotten Soul is so good. I Want to Get Some, Look at You, Starlight, which is absolutely brilliant. Generation Graveyard, and Fighting the War. Yeah, if you could get hold of that.
Man, dude, that song, Let's Get High, Get Wasted, that song is so good, man. So good.
Awesome.
Love that album.
I've also,
right. So tonight,
I've also got this.
What's that one?
It is basically, it says Warrior Soul, and it's called Fucker, which is more the sort of all the just basically
the
recorded from the band, just B-sides and extra songs and all that sort of stuff.
Not something I'd waste much money on, to be honest with you. But
this was the one that I said that I must admit mine's a CDR. They did me a copy of it.
Okay, yeah.
But
I recall, that album's just kind of I don't remember that being that great. Yeah, that was great. Yep.
If you can get on with this one, yeah. If I find another copy, Jeff, I'll sort you out.
Yeah, if you find something, but I'll let you. I got a bad feeling I'm going to go hunting after this stream for that. So that's kind of what I do. I start thinking, oh shit, I don't have that. I want that. So real quick tonight,
I've found it on eBay here in the UK, and it's £3.49. So
that's all.
There's another one for £4.20. Yeah.
Oh, dude, grab me one of those, and I'll
sort
hook
you
you
out.
up when you send it over to me. Then just grab me one.
Yeah,
Um.
will do.
So real quick, tonight, 9:00, Catacombs of Depravity, a all-star cast, probably going into the wee hours, although it's going to be the wee hours for Johnny. That's why we got to get him out here and let him get a nap in. I got to go run and get some alcohol and sort of get some shit squared away and get ready. The only other things to report on my end, there's a good chance this next week things may be quiet on my end for a little bit. I gotta address some serious health stuff that is getting really bad. So we'll talk about that. I've been putting it off, and I think tomorrow I'm gonna have to just do what I've been dreading for about a month. But if I don't, I'm talking to the guys in Horrendous. I think there's going to be an interview with those guys. There is on the 1st, November. Wait, no. The 31st. I'm sorry. Which is what day is the 31st?
Is it Tuesday, maybe?
Yeah. So Tuesday, I'm supposed to interview Damon Johnson of Brother Kane. Now, that's kind of I don't know if you know them. They're kind of like a 90s band, kind of in the vein of, I'd say, a little bit of maybe Blackfoot, a little bit of a Southern rock vibe, but not exactly, man. They're kind of a unique sound. They were slightly grungy, but not, kind of alternative rock. And Damon was in Black Star Riders with Scott Gorham and Ricky Warwick. And actually, he was, when they did the Thin Lizzy thing, Damon Johnson was the lead guitar player along with Scott Gorham. And he also played in, he plays in Lynyrd Skynyrd still, if they're still around now that Rossington's done. I think they are. And then he was in he was in Alice Cooper's band for quite a while. So he's going to be on. We're going to talk for about a half hour. It's just a quick promo thing because they're coming to my locality here on the 1st, the day after, it looks like. In fact, he might even be in town. Maybe I can go interview him live. But anyway, so that's probably coming up. Then there's other stuff I've got. Don Anderson's probably going to be coming on with some of the Agalloch guys, we hope. We'll talk about the Reformation of Agalloch. That'll be cool. But I think that's going to be next week or the second week. Going to be a UFO deep dive with Craig Beerhorst, probably Patrick from the Vinyl Archivist, and I think one other guy from the Craig's band, the Butlers. I'm trying to get Derek Vella and Phantom Slaughter on, but I'm not really getting very far with Phantom Slaughter from Worms, so maybe that won't happen. We'll just do Derek and maybe some of the Tomb Mold guys. I got a couple other things hanging out there that I'm kind of waiting to hear back on, and otherwise, onward and upward. And for those that are interested, not that this needs to be talked about publicly here, but as many of you might know, I'm pretty sick. Like you watching me, you're probably like, well, you don't look sick. Nothing about you looks sick. Trust me. If you're in the same room with me and you saw things that were going on with me, you'd understand. But things are kind of really ramping up to a pretty bad place. And the only good thing that just came about was I finally, after several months, got approved for disability. I have an income coming in finally after literally 3.5 years of having no income. And it's a decent income. I can survive pretty easily on it and have stuff left over, which is, for how long, I don't know. But I also have a pretty nice giant nut coming my way of back pay. So watch out. I'm going to be buying some guitars, putting some guitar videos up here, some music videos, and probably going to be recording some music, maybe with my daughter and some solo guitar pieces. And maybe you'll get to hear my voice in a little bit better shape than just on these streams where I annoy all of you. So that's coming hopefully soon. And I think that's about it. Johnny, how about you?
Just bits and bobs. I got tons of gigs coming up. I'll be doing usually take some video footage and work up a quick review and that, show which merch I picked up and that. I've got the usual. I've got about 150 records that I still haven't shown, so I've got enough collection updates to come through that I've had in the last 9 months. I just don't get a chance to show stuff. And
how about the Mission UK show? How was that?
That was excellent. Yeah. Unfortunately, we missed the encore at the end because we had to catch the train back. And a couple of the guys from the Chameleons came on, and they did the
Tower of Strength, right?
No, I saw Tower of Strength. They did Nico and the thingy cover. Was it
1969.
No, not that one. No, I want to say Waiting for the Man, possibly.
Oh, okay, that might be Velvet Underground. Velvet Underground.
Yeah, they did that, unfortunately, but no, it was awesome, really good.
I'll tell you what, I saw some footage that they posted on their Instagram. Man, what size venue were they playing? Are they playing? They played a what, like 1,000, 1,500?
Yeah, probably a couple thousand. It was absolutely jam packed. So they're still huge here in the UK, which is good. Really good. Well,
like I saw them here, Johnny, it was the second date of the US tour, and they were playing a small little club. I don't know if you saw some of the pictures. I think I sent you. Yeah. There might have been, and if there was 100 people there, I'd be pushing it. And the sad thing was that during the Chameleons, there was probably closer to 150, maybe 200, and then half the crowd left. And I'm like, but I will say the Chameleons are brilliant. They're amazing live. What a band.
I was disappointed they didn't actually play apart from just come on, because I think they're from the area. They're Manchester-based, aren't they? So I think that's why they came on. They didn't come on.
Uh-oh, you froze.
In Manchester, so that was cool.
You froze up.
Oh, am I back yet?
You just froze up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Am I back? Cool.
Something's going on with your internet, though, dude. I just noticed something. Are you away from in your room up there? Are you further away from your Wi-Fi?
I'm further than usual. Yeah.
That might be a problem for tonight. You're going to be downstairs, right?
I'll be downstairs tonight.
Okay, you'll be better there, because I've noticed about a half dozen times you freeze up here. So, a word to the wise: you may want to get an amplifier for your Wi-Fi and plug it in the wall up there, so that it.
This is the first time I've used it here, so it's
not bad. The audio is great. But you are freezing, like audio video wise, a couple of times.
I can tell it's mine because you're freezing a couple of times, so I know it's my side. And I'm presuming it's obviously your. It's fine.
It's you. Yeah, it's definitely you. So I would get, because I'm only 15, 20 feet from my Wi-Fi. So yeah, I would get one of those little $12, $15 amplifier things.
I have got one, but obviously you've got to sign into it, and I haven't got them to sign into it, so I'm still signed into the one downstairs. So yeah,
okay, man.
You've got thick bloody walls here. That it's a nightmare. Tell you what, where I thought Theatre of the Hate were quite good. I've never seen them before, and I didn't realise that it was Kurt Blandon's original band, and obviously Billy Duffy was with him as well. So that should be cool.
Oh man, Peter. No, I'm not planning on that at all. No. First of all, she sings like an angel, and there's no fucking way I'm going to even attempt to wreck that image of her and that, those memories of her, number one. Number two, she doesn't really sing in English. She sings her own, like, fucking language. I don't even know what the hell it is most of the time. So, but yeah, actually, Peter, we got to get on that. We got to talk about that. Peter, are you planning on jumping on with us tonight? Let me know that real quick. Because if you are, I'll send you the link. We're starting about 3 a.m. We'll probably be going at least till 3 p.m. Or no, I'm sorry. We're starting at 9 p.m. I would bet we'll still be going at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Because, to be honest with you, a lot of those guys at 3 or 4 a.m., it's only midnight out their way. So the West Coasters, it's not that late. So, but it depends on how drunk we all get, I would think, Let me know, Peter, if you're planning to join us and pop in. If you are, I will send you the link. I think I've hit everybody else with the link, but who knows, man? So Johnny.
Yeah.
You got your first dad out of the way, man. You are now dadded.
I'm quite pleased with it, mate. I enjoyed it. It's good. Like I said, it's easy. It's easier easier and harder when you like both of the albums. So, and you've got it's like choosing one of your kids, isn't it? It's not easy. So,
yeah, I mean, that's part of the thing. Nobody was gonna pick. Neither of us were gonna pick one of their later albums. That was, if we would, I'd be like, wait, really? But like for example, doing Metallica, nobody's gonna pick fucking Load, I doubt, right?
No.
Unless you're a young kid that came in around that time, right? There's no way in hell I'm ever picking Load over the first 4 albums. Even over, quite frankly, I wouldn't pick Load over the Black Album. So, you know, I mean, it's just how it is. But like Jake and I are doing Metallica, and I picked Ride, and he picked the Black Album because he came in around that time as a young.
I'd go like the Lightning as well. Light's my favorite.
Yeah,
I must admit. But I know a lot of people that go for
Master.
Yeah, Master. Or there's quite a few people that actually do like
Kill 'Em All.
The one with Jason Newsted that with no bass on it.
And Justice. Nah.
Justice,
I like that album, but I could never pick it as their definitive one. The production's just too bad on it.
No,
I mean, I like Kill 'Em All too. I mean, you know. So anyway, look, we're gonna wrap up. You need to go get some sleep. You need to get some sleep, and I will see you tonight. I will see you tonight. Can you send that link to yourself then, or do you need me to send you that one?
It's okay. I've logged on to Facebook on my new laptop now, so I'm good to go. So
you can email yourself that link for the one tonight.
That'll be good. Yeah.
All right, Peter. I'll after I go to the bathroom, I'll hit you with the link. All right. So see everybody tonight.
Hang
on, Johnny. Hang on, Johnny.
Will do.